Hello there. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the different musical symbols and reading the sheet music. Music. What is a ledger line? A ledger line is a short line for when we put notes below, or above the staff. Whatever it is, a treble, or a bass staff, it extends the staff to pitches that fall above or below it. Such ledger lines are placed behind the note heads, and extend a small distance to each side. Multiple ledger lines can be used when necessary to notate pitches even farther above or below the staff. What is the staff? A staff is a set of 5 horizontal lines and 4 spaces that each represent a different musical pitch or, in the case of a percussion staff, different percussion instruments. When we run out of room on the staff, we add ledger lines. These very short lines extend the 5-line, 4-space staff, allowing us to add extra notes. They can be added above or below the treble and bass staff. Those below the staff are the lower notes, while those above are higher notes. Bottom, why are clefs important? To help them to tell the location of the notes. We can use clefs to find out what the note is. Without the clefs, we can't yet tell what notes to play. I know that is important, but what is a treble clef? The treble clef is the center of the spiral, assigns the second line from the bottom to the pitch G above middle C. It's also called the G clef. The treble clef, or the G clef, is the most commonly encountered clef in modern times. It was used for high notes. The treble clef is on the line that passes through the curl of the clef. What is the French violin clef? The French violin clef is a special clef was used for violin music, particularly that published in France. It is used for most modern vocal music. There could be another clef, bass clef. What is a bass clef? A bass clef is a clef to notes F below middle C. It makes the second line from the top of the staff F below middle C, and is called a bass clef. It's also called a F clef. The bass clef, or a F clef, is commonly encountered clef in modern times. It was used for low notes. The bass clef is on the line that passes between the 2 dots of the clef. What is the baritone clef? This clef was used for the left hand of keyboard music as well as the baritone part in vocal music. It was in the 3rd line between the 2 dots. What is the sub bass clef? A sub bass clef was used by Johannes Ockeghem and Heinrich Schütz to write low bass parts, making a late appearance in Bach's musical offering. When the F clef is placed on the 5th line, it is called the sub bass clef. It is identical to the treble clef transposed down 2 octaves. There is also an alto clef, but what is an alto clef? An alto clef is a clef that is currently used for the viola da gamba, the alto trombone, and the mandolin. It is also associated with the countertenor voice. It is also called the countertenor, or countertenor, clef. And worst-case scenario, a C clef. When the C clef is placed on the 3rd line of the stave, it is called the alto or viola clef. What is a tenor clef? A tenor clef is a clef that is used for the upper ranges of the bassoon, cello, euphonium, double bass, and trombone. The C clef is placed on the 4th line. What is the baritone clef? A baritone clef is a clef that is precisely the equivalent to the other more common form of the baritone clef, an F clef placed on the 3rd line. When the C clef is placed on the 5th line of the stave, it is called the baritone clef. What is a mezzo-soprano clef? The mezzo-soprano clef is a clef that is traditionally used for mezzo-soprano voices in operatic roles, notably by composer Claudio Monteverdi. This clef was also used for certain flute parts during Renaissance, especially when doubling vocal lines. When the C clef is placed on the 2nd line of the stave, it is called the mezzo-soprano clef. What is a soprano clef? The soprano clef is a clef that was used for the right hand of keyboard music as well as in vocal music for soprano. It is also sometimes used in high viola da gamba parts alongside the alto clef. When the C clef is placed on the 1st line of the stave, it is called the soprano clef. What is a percussion clef? The neutral or percussion clef is not a clef in the same sense that the F, C, and G clefs are. What is a tablature clef? A tab sign is often written instead of a clef. The number of lines of the stave is not necessarily 5, one line is used for each string. This tab sign, like the percussion clef, is not a clef in the true sense, but rather a symbol employed instead of a clef. What are octave clefs? Treble and bass clefs can also be modified by octave numbers. An 8, 15, and 22 above a clef raises the intended pitch range. Why can a number below the clef have an 8, 15, and a 22? Basically, an 8 or 15 and a 22 below a clef lowers the pitch range by 1, 2, or 3 octaves. A treble clef with an 8 below is the most commonly used, typically used for guitar and similar instruments, as well as for tenor parts in choral music. How can we raise or lower a note by 1, 2, or 3 octaves? The 8 bar sign is placed above the staff to tell the musician to play the passage 1 octave higher. An 8 var or, as alternative in modern music, an 8 VB sign is placed below the staff, meaning play the passage 1 octave lower. The 15 mar sign is placed above the staff to mean play the passage 2 octaves higher. A 15 mar sign below the staff indicates play the passage 2 octaves lower. The 22 mar sign is placed above the staff to mean play the passage 3 octaves higher. A 22 mar sign below the staff indicates play the passage 3 octaves lower. Why aren't any H's on the musical alphabet? In music, there's no H's in here. The letters of the musical alphabet are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If the musical alphabet was in German, then the musical alphabet is going to go A, H, C, D, E, F, G. What's another way to name musical notes? Most countries in the world use the solfege naming convention of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, and ti. Italy, Portugal, Spain, France, Poland, Romania, most Latin American countries, Greece, Bulgaria, Turkey, Russia, and all the Arabic-speaking or Persian-speaking countries use it. However, within the English-speaking and Dutch-speaking world, pitch classes are typically represented by the first 7 letters of the Latin alphabet. A few European countries, including Germany, adopt an almost identical notation, in which H substitutes for B. In Indian music, the Sanskrit names of za, re, ga, ma, pa, da, and ni are used, which is almost the same as Telugu and Tamil. Byzantium used the names pa, vu, ga, di, ke, zo, and ni. For Japanese, it was ha, ni, ho, he, tu, I, Andrew. In Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, French, Romanian, Greek, Russian, Mongolian, Flemish, Persian, Arabic, Hebrew, Ukrainian, Bulgarian and Turkish notation. The notes of scales are given in terms of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, and si. What are the different notes? I'm gonna tell you all different notes by length. The octuple whole note is a note lasting 8 times as long as a whole note. It equal to 32 beats. The quadruple whole note is a note lasting 4 times as long as a whole note. It equal to 16 beats. The double whole note is a note lasting 2 times as long as a whole note. It equal to 8 beats. The whole note have no stem and no flag. It equal to 4 beats. The half note have a stem, but no flag. It equal to 2 beats. The quarter note also have a stem, but no flag. It equal to 1 beat. The 8th note have a stem, and have 1 flag. It equal to half a beat. The 16th note have a stem, and have 2 flags. It equal to a quarter of a beat. The 32nd note have a stem, and have 3 flags. It equal to an 1/8 of a beat. The 64th note have a stem, and have 4 flags. It equal to a 16th of a beat. The 128th note have a stem, and have 5 flags. It equal to a 32nd of a beat. The 256th note have a stem, and have 6 flags. It equal to a 64th of a beat. The 512th note have a stem, and have 7 flags. It equal to 128th of a beat. The 1024th note have a stem, and have 8 flags. It equal to a 256th of a beat. The 2048th note have a stem, and have 9 flags. It equal to a 512th of a beat. The 4096th note have a stem, and have 10 flags. It equal to 1024th of a beat. The 8192nd note have a stem, and have 11 flags. It equal to 2048th of a beat. The 16384th note have a stem, and have 12 flags. It equal to 4096th of a beat. Dotted notes lengthens the note duration by 1/2. Flat notes lowers the pitch of a note by 1 semitone. Sharp notes raises the pitch of a note by 1 semitone. Natural notes cancels a previous accidental, or modifies the pitch of a sharp or flat as defined by the prevailing key signature. Double natural notes cancels the effects of a double sharp or double flat symbol. Triple natural notes cancels the effects of a triple sharp or triple flat symbol. Double flat notes lowers the pitch of a note by 2 chromatic semitones. Usually used when the note to modify is already flatted by the key signature. Double sharp notes raises the pitch of a note by 2 chromatic semitones. Usually used when the note to modify is already sharpened by the key signature. Triple flat notes lowers the pitch of a note by 3 chromatic semitones. Usually used when the note to modify is already flatted by the key signature. Triple sharp notes raises the pitch of a note by 3 chromatic semitones. Usually used when the note to modify is already sharpened by the key signature. Demi-flat notes lowers the pitch of a note by 1/4 tone. Flat and a half notes, or a sesquiflat notes, lowers the pitch of a note by 3/4 tones. As with a demi-flat, a /double flat symbol is also used. Demi-sharp notes raises the pitch of a note by 1/4 tone. Sharp and a half, or a sesquisharp notes, raises the pitch of a note by 3/4 tones. Occasionally represented with 2 vertical and 3 diagonal bars instead, the note has the same number of flags, or hooks, as the rest has branches. What are rests? Rests are symbols on the piece of music tells how long you need to stop for. What are the types on volume in music? Pianissimo is extremely soft. Very infrequently does one see softer dynamics than this, which are specified with additional PS. Pianissimo is very soft. Usually the softest indication in a piece of music, though softer dynamics are often specified with additional PS. Piano, not to be confused with the instrument, is soft, but louder than pianissimo. Mezzo piano is moderately soft, but louder than piano. Mezzo forte is moderately loud, but softer than forte. If no dynamic appears, mezzo forte is assumed to be the prevailing dynamic level. Forte is loud. It was used as often as piano to indicate contrast. Fortissimo is very loud. Usually the loudest indication in a piece, though louder dynamics are often specified with additional fs. Fortissimo is extremely loud. Very infrequently does one see louder dynamics than this, which are specified with additional fs. Whoops. Sorry for the loud volume. Anyways, crescendo is a gradual increase in volume, and it can be extended under many notes to indicate that the volume steadily increases. Diminuendo, also called decrescendo, is a gradual decrease in volume, and it can be extended in the same manner as crescendo. Now I'm going to explain all of the note locations from the lowest note to the highest note. This is the bass staff. It covers all of the notes that is on the left side of the piano. It also includes the bass clef, or the F clef. E0 is on the 8th ledger line of the bass staff. F0 is in the 7th space below the 7th ledger line of the bass staff. G0 is on the 7th ledger line of the bass staff. A0 is in the 6th space below the 6th ledger line of the bass staff. B0 is on the 6th ledger line below the bass staff. C1 is in the 5th space below the 5th ledger line of the bass staff. D1 is on the 5th ledger line below the bass staff. E1 is in the 4th space below the 4th ledger line of the bass staff. F1 is on the 4th ledger line below the bass staff. G1 is in the third space below the third ledger line of the bass staff. A1 is on the third ledger line below the bass staff. B1 is in the second space below the second ledger line of the bass staff. C2 is on the second ledger line below the bass staff. D2 is in the first space below the first ledger line of the bass staff. E2 is on the first ledger line below the bass staff. F2 is below the 5 lines on the bass staff. G2 is on the first line of the bass staff. A2 is in the first space of the bass staff. B2 is on the second line of the bass staff. C3 is in the second space of the bass staff. D3 is on the third line of the bass staff. E3 is in the third space of the bass staff. F3 is on the fourth line of the bass staff. G3 is in the fourth space of the bass staff. A3 is on the fifth line of the bass staff. B3 is above 5 lines of the bass staff. C4 is on the ledger line in the middle of a bass staff, and a treble staff. Now this is the treble staff. It covers all of the notes that is on the right side of the piano. It also includes the treble clef, or the G clef, in just like C4 is on the ledger line below the treble staff. It's also called middle C. D4 is on the below the 5 lines on the treble staff. E4 is on the first line of the treble staff. F4 is in the first space of the treble staff. G4 is on the second line of the treble staff. A4 is in the second space of the treble staff. B4 is on the third line of the treble staff. C5 is in the third space of the treble staff. D5 is on the fourth line of the treble staff. E5 is in the fourth space of the treble staff. F5 is on the fifth line of the treble staff. G5 is above 5 lines of the treble staff. A5 is on the first ledger line above the treble staff. B5 is in the first space above the first ledger line above the treble staff. C6 is on the second ledger line above the treble staff. D6 is in the second space above the second ledger line above the treble staff. E6 is on the third ledger line above the treble staff. F6 is in the third space above the third ledger line above the treble staff. G6 is on the fourth ledger line above the treble staff. A6 is in the fourth space above the fourth ledger line above the treble staff. B6 is on the fifth ledger line above the treble staff. C7 is in the fifth space above the fifth ledger line above the treble staff. D7 is on the 6th ledger line above the treble staff. E7 is in the 6th space above the 6th ledger line above the treble staff. F7 is on the 7th ledger line above the treble staff. G7 is in the 7th space above the 7th ledger line above the treble staff. A7 is on the 8th ledger line above the treble staff. B7 is in the 8th space above the 8th ledger line above the treble staff. C8 is on the 9th ledger line above the treble staff. D8 is in the 9th space above the 9th ledger line above the treble staff. E8 is on the 10th ledger line above the treble staff. F8 is in the 10th space above the 10th ledger line above the treble staff. G8 is on the 11th ledger line above the treble staff. A8 is in the 11th space above the 11th ledger line above the treble staff. B8 is on the 12th ledger line above the treble staff. C9 is in the 12th space above the 12th ledger line above the treble staff. D9 is on the 13th ledger line above the treble staff. E9 is in the 13th space above the 13th ledger line above the treble staff. That's all of the note locations. Remember, count the lines and spaces to help you memorize the location of each note. Speaking of notes, all of these notes in music was converted into frequencies. They can be found on the human spectrum. I'm going to tell you how many hertz are in each note. But it must be rounded. E9. 10,548 hertz. D sharp 9. 9956 hertz. D9. 9397 hertz. C sharp 9. 8870 hertz. C9. 8342 hertz. B8. 7902 hertz. A sharp 8. 7459 hertz. A8. 7040 hertz. G sharp 8. 6645 hertz. G8. 6272 hertz. F sharp 8. 5920 hertz. F8. 5588 hertz. E8. 5274 hertz. D sharp 8. 4978 hertz. D8. 4699 hertz. C sharp 8. 4435 hertz. C8. 4186 hertz. B7. 3951 hertz. A sharp 7. 3729 hertz. A7, 3520 Hz. G sharp 7, 3322 Hz. G7, 3136 Hz. F sharp 7, 2960 Hz. F7, 2794 Hz. E7, 2637 Hz. D sharp 7, 2489 Hz. D7, 2349 Hz. C sharp 7, 2217 Hz. C7, 2093 Hz. B6, 1976 Hz. A sharp 6, 1865 Hz. A6, 1760 Hz. G sharp 6, 1661 Hz. G6, 1568 Hz. F sharp 6, 1480 Hz. F6, 1397 Hz. E6, 1319 Hz. D sharp 6, 1245 Hz. D6, 1175 Hz. C sharp 6, 1109 Hz. C6, 1047 Hz. B5, 988 Hz. A sharp 5, 932 Hz. A5, 880 Hz. G sharp 5, 831 Hz. G5, 784 Hz. F sharp 5, 740 Hz. F5, 698 Hz. E5, 659 Hz. D sharp 5, 622 Hz. D5, 587 Hz. C sharp 5, 554 Hz. C5, 523 Hz. B4, 494 Hz. A sharp 4, 466 Hz. A4, 440 Hz. G sharp 4, 415 Hz. G4, 392 Hz. F sharp 4, 370 Hz. F4, 349 Hz. E4, 330 Hz. D sharp 4, 311 Hz. D4, 294 Hz. C sharp 4, 277 Hz. C4, 262 Hz. B3, 247 Hz. A sharp 3, 233 Hz. A3, 220 Hz. G sharp 3, 208 Hz. G3, 196 Hz. F sharp 3, 185 Hz. F3, 175 Hz. E3, 165 Hz. D sharp 3, 156 Hz. D3, 147 Hz. C sharp 3, 139 Hz. C3, 131 Hz. B2, 123 Hz. A sharp 2, 117 Hz. A2, 110 Hz. G sharp 2, 104 Hz. G2, 98 Hz. F sharp 2, 93 Hz. F2, 87 Hz. E2, 82 Hz. D sharp 2, 78 Hz. D2, 73 Hz. C sharp 2, 69 Hz. C2, 65 Hz. B1, 62 Hz. A sharp 1, 58 Hz. A1, 55 Hz. G sharp 1, 52 Hz. G1, 49 Hz. F sharp 1, 46 Hz. F1. 44 Hz. E1. 41 Hz. D sharp 1. 39 Hz. D1. 37 Hz. C sharp 1. 35 Hz. C1. 33 Hz. B0. 31 Hz. A sharp 0. 29 Hz. A0. 28 Hz. G sharp 0. 26 Hz. G0. 25 Hz. F sharp 0. 23 Hz. F0. 22 Hz. E0. 21 Hz. That's all of the frequency notes. To get the semitone frequency, multiply the note by 1.0594630943592950198. That's all I want to talk about. This is Jackson Cooper, signing off.